Good morning. Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. Ask any questions in the comments or use the hashtag QBATE on Twitter. If you need any more advice, do join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. There are accountants and business experts on hand 24/7. During the live session, we will be running a poll, so please do engage with it and I'll reveal the results at the end. So I'm Laura Hitchcock, and for the last 15 years, I've been running a website called Little Stuff, which is a parenting magazine, started life as a directory and a blog, and gradually developed over the years into an enormous monster of a website that it is now. It's won awards. I've been on various high street brand advisory panels. It grew out of an idea that I had because I had 2 children. I was pregnant with my 3rd, and I got made redundant. I was trying to do some shopping. It was the early days of the internet. I did not want to go down the high street with an enormous baby bump and 2 under 3. And I was looking online, and it was really hard to find things back then. And I thought, well, if I'm trying to do this, other mums are trying to do this. And so I set up something that would help, just to bring places that they could shop together, not the high street brands. Everybody could find John Lewis and Mothercare, but it was the smaller independent shops. Back in the days, I was way ahead of my time, back in the days when it wasn't so easy to find them as it is now. And so it gradually grew over time. Obviously, my kids grew. So me now with 4 teenagers, it's not much point me talking about weaning and high chairs and push chairs, because I'm way out of that now, and there are other far more qualified people to talk about those things. So instead, I talk about parenting teenagers, because my whole ethos is always write about what you know. About 4 years ago, I had grown my newsletter list to just over 15,000. But I'd send a newsletter out every month, because all the advice is build your newsletter list and send it out. And I was getting, 0.5% open rate. And I couldn't understand why everybody said use your newsletter list when nobody was reading it, nobody was interested. So I thought, I'm wasting an opportunity here. There's got to be something else I can do. So I got a free trial of some magazine software. And instead of sending out a plain old boring email, I created a quick 6-page magazine and thought, I'll give it a go, see if that works. Well, I sent this magazine out and I got something like a 30% open rate. And I thought, oh, that's what your newsletter list is supposed to be for. And so I started incorporating a digital magazine every month. It's purely digital, goes into people's inboxes, but you flip the pages like an ordinary magazine. And so that worked really well. Little Stuff was my main job. I did the magazine every month. I did special projects with various high street brands. I worked on affiliate networking. I did reviews, ran competitions. Nothing groundbreaking, but it worked for me and it worked really well. And then we got to 2020. Which has been interesting. We're no different to everybody else. And in March of this year, everything stopped. All the ongoing contracts I had were stopped. All my income was frozen from that. The prospective contracts that I had coming up for the next couple of months, they were all pulled. And all of a sudden, this regular stream of income that I had stopped, just disappeared. It was quite scary. And at the same time, my husband is a wedding photographer, so he's had a really good year. Just nothing. So we took some time to freak out and panic and think, how are we going to keep paying the mortgage and feed the children? And then we thought, well, this is it. We've got to do something, obviously, like everybody else. I saw freelance journalists going to drive Tesco's. We all have had to do what we need to do. And so I was doing some freelance, we both were doing some freelance work here and there, but as everybody knows, freelance is never the most reliable work. Plus the competition for it this year, because everybody's trying to do the same thing. So we were getting by, scratching by, figuring things out, but it wasn't perfect. And we were trying to find the new thing that we could do to run alongside. Obviously, the other businesses will come back and slowly increase again. But everybody needs the money every month, not just, it will come back in 6 months' time. And around this time, our free local paper stopped publishing. They stopped back in March, and then they announced in the summer that that's it, they weren't publishing anymore. And we'd gone out for a drive during the summer. Remember the summer when there was sunshine and warmth? We'd gone out about midnight for a drive up to a local beauty spot. And my husband said, you know what? You could do that free paper thing with your digital magazine. If we changed it, we could do a digital magazine for the local area. And normally he comes up with these ideas and I slap him around the side of the head and tell him not to be so stupid. And this time he said it and I said, do you know what? We could. We absolutely could. Because it was exactly what I was doing already. But instead of, for example, if I wanted book reviews, ordinarily in my normal little stuff life, I would contact HarperCollins or Penguin or Random House and talk to them. I'm taking the job that I was doing and reducing it to a local level. So I talked to an independent bookshop. But it was the same kind of skills. So we talked it through and figured out the specifics. Would people want digital? We had no interest in printing a newspaper. The costs are astronomical. We know nothing about printing. And the key is always to do what you know. Talk about what you know and do what you know, I think. So we thought, well, we're not going to choose to print a newspaper. That would be disastrous. But what we can do is digital. But we live in a rural area. Would people like the digital? Would they go for it? We didn't really know. But we figured we had nothing to lose. We already had everything in place because I was already doing it. So the initial startup investment was minimal. So the risk was quite low. And we've always taught our kids, do you know what, say yes to the adventure. Always, always go for it. If you get an idea, go for it. So we thought, let's go for it. Let's do it. Because if we don't, we'll always regret that we didn't try. So back in August, we did a very gentle soft launch on Facebook, local community groups, and just said, we're starting this. Sign up here if you think it might be of interest and you'd like to subscribe. And within a week, we had a subscription list of 5,000 readers. So we figured, okay, we're doing this then. And here we are. So the first edition was the middle of September. And this Friday, we published our 4th edition. In the middle, we published a lockdown supplement, which was an extra thing that we did as emergency free listing for all the local businesses who were running during lockdown. And that was just a massive amount of work trying to fit in over 200 businesses that had registered and said, yes, we're open and here's our details and please will you tell people that we're still here. And the 4th edition is going out this Friday, which is the big Christmas bumper edition. And it's huge. We're doing over 100 pages. And it's going really well. And it's really exciting. And what's been interesting is, whilst it's really different to what we were doing before, it's really the same. And we've learned so much, but we've also learned what we already knew. Some things that probably for some people are a steep learning curve, for us are the things that we've been doing for the last 10 years. We knew how to set up a website. We know about social media. I knew how to write. We knew about how to talk to brands. We knew about marketing and advertising. All these things that we have learned over the years running our own businesses were transferable. And I think that's the big thing in 2020, that we have all learned how to transfer skills. So many of us have had to pivot what we're doing, look around and say, right, this is what I do. And this year it's not working. So what can I take from this and face it somewhere else and make it work? Which has been a big lesson for us, but I don't think we're unique. I think an awful lot of people have either already done it or are looking around saying, now's the time I need to change. Because obviously 2020 isn't going to end in 30 days' time. Well, all right, technically the year's going to end in 30 days' time, but the effects of it are going to continue for months. And I think a lot of people have trickled through so far, but it's coming to the point where, okay, we need to do something new now. So we took a step back, and I think that's a really important thing to do, that not to just rush into something new. I think we took a couple of days, literally sat with a pen and paper and said, right, what can we do? What do we know? What do we not know? Where are our gaps? What can we manage? And what else do we need? And we realized, listing on a piece of paper, as I said, we have a lot of skills that are instantly transferable. So I had the website set up within a couple of days. We already had QuickBooks. It was so easy to add a new business on QuickBooks. Thank you, QuickBooks. It's made all the accounting part of it so easy. They didn't pay me to say that. They didn't know I was saying that, but it was brilliant. We had lots of things that we knew how to do. The one thing that I didn't have was a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I don't have a journalism degree, and I was very aware that we needed to fix that. So thankfully, I made contact with people who years ago used to write for the old local paper and said, could you help? And they've been amazing. And I think, I mean, a couple of them are retired now. They have a bank of knowledge that I will never grasp. They know the answer to every question I post them. And being able to use that and build on, I call it the silver knowledge. You know, they just know the answer to every question, and they are so generous with their time. Perhaps they feel happy to be useful, I don't know, but I'm so grateful to them. There's a whole team of people that have helped, and I think it's been really important for us in this to acknowledge we don't know everything. We don't have to be the smartest people in the room. We know the stuff we're good at, and we're very quick to ask for help with the things that we don't. And that's been a real boon for us, just having this bank of knowledge there. And I think it's been great. And I think all the things that I've learned over the last 10 years, things like talking on social media, people like to do business with people. People don't like to do business with a faceless brand entity. They want to connect with a person. That sort of thing works really well. And it's the sort of thing that I've learned, you know, over the years, that perhaps somebody new coming into a business finds it quite tricky to do. And I found ultimately people are very forgiving. If they're talking to a person and you just say up front, look, we're new to this, we're working it out, we'd like to do this, what do you think? Can you help? And they'll go with you. If you're working with integrity and good humour, people like working with you, and ultimately that will win out at the end of the day. Apart from that, it was just the things that we don't know yet. We're learning all the time. Don't be afraid to go and learn something new. I think you need to always acknowledge what you don't know and go and find out. Ask somebody who can teach you, or go and teach yourself. The knowledge is out there for everybody to go and figure out. Okay, so I'm going to take some messages. I've had some questions, so let me just go down. There's a Twitter DM from Anderson. Morning, Laura. What is that one thing that you focus on when designing content? How do you make sure the content is well received by the readers? I think you never know for sure. I think my guiding principle is always, do I want to read it? If I'm not interested in reading it, why would anybody else be? So I always make something that I want to read, and then hope that other people will read it. It doesn't always work. And the other thing is that because it's digital, we can always check. There are always stats. It's not like when you print a paper and it goes out there and then that's it. We can check page by page, article by article, the dwell time, the click-through rate. So we know how long, if I've got a whole page, an A4 page of writing, and the average dwell time is less than 10 seconds, nobody's reading that. So therefore I know there's something wrong with that content and we won't write that again next month. Equally, if they're spending 3 or 4 minutes on it, they've read it word for word, this is good content, we can do that again. So I think it's a balance of writing what you want to read and researching and checking back and constantly updating what you think you know compared to what actually is the case. Karina on Facebook Messenger, very inspiring to hear about your new magazine. Thank you very much. How did you go from idea to execution? Was there a lot of planning involved, or did you simply start executing right away? That's a twofold thing. So in terms of actual structure of the magazine, straight away, because I was already doing it. This was something I already knew. I simply took a format that I already had, literally made a duplicate copy in the software, titled it something new, and started again. Obviously, starting with a new layout and a new design, a new title, but the actual bones of it were there straight away. Planning the content took longer because this was different to what I had done before. So I had in my head some ideas of particular columnists that I wanted to write. I was very well aware I can't write all this on my own. You know, you need other people contributing. So I knew certain columnists that I really wanted to contribute, and I just wrote and begged and pleaded and batted my eyelashes until they said yes. And from there, the content builds, and you have an overarching theme, and you get these pillars, and everything else grows organically from there. And then when you start laying out, you put the individual pages in, and then you get about 3/4 of the way through the layout, and all of a sudden it all starts to gel together, and you move things around, and it just suddenly works. And it's really encouraging. The first time is scary, but after that, you just trust the process. Harper from Instagram DM. have you been able to monetize the magazine, or do you have any future plans to do so? Would love to learn about your means to monetization. Okay, well, it's a basic model. We don't do it for free. It's not a community-funded enterprise or anything. This is paying the bills. So it's a free magazine for people to read, but brands pay to advertise. We have to build an audience, and we charge brands for space according to our audience. So because we were a startup and new and different and not what people expect, we knew we had to charge a small, low rate to encourage people to go with us. But people did right from the start. We found that there are two camps. You have the businesses who don't get the digital thing, who think we're a website, or they think their customers aren't. And the number of people that have spoken to us on Facebook and said, I don't use the internet. They're already on Facebook. They clearly do use the internet, but they think their customers aren't on Facebook. And then you have the other half who completely get it, who understand that things are moving very fast, that even people who wouldn't have been on the internet reading a year ago are on the internet thanks to 2020. 35% of our readership is over 65. Purely, I think, because 2020, they've been forced onto the iPad or their phones to stay in contact with people, and they're grasping the use of technology. Our local council has just done a community project where they're providing iPads to vulnerable, lonely people in the community to help them be connected. And I think we're just hitting at the right time that digital's making that work. So monetization is a very straightforward, old-fashioned model where people pay to advertise. I do a little bit of affiliate marketing in there, not very much, because to be honest, I know from experience, I don't have the traffic yet to make that worth my while. I'd rather build relationships and networks with local brands and businesses and work that way. Debbie from Instagram DM. Hello, good morning. I'm going to start a blog in a few weeks' time, and I'm hoping it'll be another revenue stream for me. How many readers do I need to generate income? And also, before I can work with brands, I'm hoping to use ads. Do you know if I can choose the ads shown on my blog? Okay, lots of questions there. So firstly, if you're starting a blog, don't think about making money from it straight away. That way lies failure. If you're starting a blog, content is king. Write what you want to read. Be engaging, be enthusiastic, write good content, build your audience. No money comes until you have an audience. No audience comes until you have good content that they want to hang around and read. Once you've got that, brands will start to come to you. So you network, you build your audience, brands will come to you. You can do ads, you can do Google ads. There are various advertising networks. You have to have a level of traffic before that will earn you any money. So the first thing is to build your audience. Sorry, I've just scrolled past. Francis from Twitter DM. How has your experience with Little Stuff helped you with the Blackmore Vale? I think I already said it's the same but different. It's the same skills, it's the same experience, but taking it to a local level. So remembering we don't talk about national brands, we talk about the local independents. And actually working on a local level, it's great because we're networking and talking to all the local businesses and talking to people in our local communities. It's a large area in North Dorset, and it's quite a large area spread out, smaller communities. We have very small market towns, many, many tiny villages, and an enormous amount of small businesses. And we network with them all. We try and make friends and chat and be friendly and approachable. And we share their news and share their successes. We do shout outs. And it's building that community, which was quite tough on Little Stuff because that was because you have to be nationally recognized or nationally relevant. So it's quite tough to build those personal relationships with the bigger brands. So actually, it's really fun. Elijah on Instagram stories, how to get over writer's block. I had a friend who's an experienced journalist who told me years ago that the thing in her newsroom was don't get it right, get it written. And I find the start of a piece that I'm writing is tricky. You can really get stuck just starting. And I find that rings in my head, don't get it right, get it written. Just start writing it. Start in the middle. It doesn't matter. Finish it. Write the end first. And once you start with something, it doesn't matter how bad it is, the rest will come. And then you can go back and tidy up. You can go back and insert the front. Just get something down. Norris from Twitter DM. Thank you for sharing your story today, Laura. I changed my business strategy and started a website and e-commerce store for my retail shop. While the business has improved since the first lockdown, I'm swamped with work throughout the day. Is it a good idea to hire someone to handle online operations? Yes. Always outsource. The thing is, you have to balance, don't you? The cost of somebody new versus the amount of time you're saving. Your time is worth your money. So if you're going to pay somebody, I don't know, £100 to work, will you gain more than £100 of profit by having that work taken away from you and leaving you free to do something else? 9 times out of 10, if you're at the point where you can't handle the work, absolutely it's worth that investment, yes. But pick the right person. They don't have to work full time, but pick somebody who'll be good that you can trust. And my questions have just pinged so many people. Sally from Instagram DM. How has the last 8 to 9 months been as a parent? I was happy to be spending more time with my children, 10 and 14, but they have been getting restless and less attentive in general. Well, Sally, we are slightly different that we home educate. So having the kids at home is quite normal for us. So it hasn't really been such a sea change as it has for a lot of other people. But absolutely, I think there are limits to that acceptance. And everybody goes through, I think we all do it as adults, we do it as well. There's general waves where you're, this is fine, we can handle it, this is fine. And then today it's not fine. Today I'm done, I've had enough. And I think the trick is to not fight it. The trick is to go with it. And if people are having a bad day, well, you're having a bad day. Down tools, go out for a walk, watch a movie, have a long bath. Do all the things that you would do as an adult. Let your kids do them. It's fine. Let them have a day chatting to their mates on the internet. Don't limit their screen time. Let them watch all the Star Wars films back to back. Just let them have a day off, because it's absolutely fine for kids to do so. They're kids and they need to refresh their brains. That's absolutely good. And then I find that if you let them have the time off, they come back again and the focus is back again. Douglas from Facebook Messenger. I also had to pivot during the pandemic. From running a local restaurant, I started an online grocery delivery service. I wanted to ask you, how do you use social media to connect with the local people? I'm no writer and would appreciate tips and advice. I think, Douglas, you don't need to be a writer. You need to be you. People just want to connect with people. So just start with small things. Share your day, share your thoughts, share something funny that you've looked at on TikTok or Facebook or something meaningful. Share them with people, chat to people, connect with people on social media, and don't just hit like or scroll past. Reply to them. If they've said something you agree with or that you disagree with, politely, go ahead and say so. Generate conversations. And people will stick with you, because we're all social creatures. We all like to have conversations, and online is no different to the people that walked into your restaurant and wanted to have a chat. Those same people are shopping with you online. They still want that connection and conversation. Louise from Facebook Messenger. What are your future plans for the new magazine? How are you planning to scale the revenue? Well, clearly, Louise, our future plans are world domination. That's it, end all. In all seriousness, we love what we're doing. I don't think we particularly change. We certainly have no massive plans for expansion. All we want to do is grow the readership to more. We currently have our subscription list is up to 8,500 now. The magazine gets around 350,000 page impressions every issue. And that's amazing. We're thrilled with that. And our just intention is just to keep going month on month, build it a little bit more. And this time next year, hopefully have doubled the readership, maybe tripled the readership. But really, our plan is just to keep producing good content that people want to read, and that people will follow up with that. Where are we? Helen from Twitter. How do you connect with the local community? Do you feature local stories as well? We absolutely only feature local stories. We're a local newspaper, and that's the reason that we are there. We're a weird hybrid because we're a digital magazine. So we have long form articles. We have local experts in local history, local nature. We have somebody who runs a guided walk tour who writes about the local area. We have various articles which are local interest combined with news from the local schools. We have what's going on in the local theatres. We have what's happening with the new planning applications. We have what is going on with those traffic lights and why there's still works going on there 6 months down the line. All that normal stuff you'd expect from a local newspaper. We don't do, because we're monthly, we don't do quick turnover instant journalism. We're slightly longer form, slightly slower paced, but it's all local interest. Brennan, Facebook Messenger. Creating and publishing content regularly must take a lot of effort. How do you manage your time between Little Stuff and the Blackmore Vale? I don't really. I try and juggle, but by the nature of things, when I'm doing one, I can't do the other. Little Stuff generally is ticking along in the background because it's such a big website with a huge bank of posts and content. It requires very little in terms of turning over on the front end, because a lot of my traffic is coming to posts that I did 10 years ago. I've got a school dinners pink custard recipe, which gets probably, 4,000 hits a month just on its own, just from sitting there. I don't do anything with it. I don't earn any money from it, but the traffic continues. So Little Stuff works as hard as I work it. It doesn't seem to go away, but if I want it to be more profitable, I have to work it as an active job. So when I can take time away from that and do the Blackmore Vale, and because the Blackmore Vale is monthly, that tends to be a crescendo through the month and then calms down again. And so I try and juggle the two, but I fear that Little Stuff has taken a back seat for the last couple of months, and I need to probably figure out a better job for balancing the two. Lorraine from Instagram DM. I've got to rush now. I'm being told I've got to hurry up. Lorraine from Instagram DM. How do you collect and curate the stories that you put out in the magazine? Do you do all the research online? Do you have contributors from the community as well? Okay, I have a bank of columnists who provide their own content. I have 2 or 3 writers who write regular stories, and we discuss at the start of the month what they will cover this month. And the rest I curate. I keep an eye out locally. I pick the stories I want to write about, and I keep a folder. And then towards the end of the month, I will lose the ones that aren't still relevant, because obviously, Remembrance Sunday is no longer relevant to the 5th of December, so I won't write about that, and we'll keep the ones that are still relevant. And last question today, Gideon from Twitter DM. Hi, Laura, what's been your biggest in pivoting your business so far? Biggest problem in pivoting your business so far? How did you overcome it? I think just taking the plunge, the bravery. I've been doing Little Stuff for a long time. I know it is like a comfort blanket. I've learned so much, and I just instinctively know everything I need to do. Changing that was huge and scary and terrifying, and I didn't know that I genuinely had it in me to do it. We're it's not just me. My husband's doing it with me. We're a definite partnership, and we do it 50-50. And it's just been a big learning curve. But I think the biggest thing is just to say, okay, we don't know this. How do we find it out? And I think once we learned that was okay, and people didn't mind the fact that we said, we don't know how to do this, we'll figure it out, then everything got a lot easier. We just took the pressure off. Okay, the poll results are in. We asked you, is your business prepared for Brexit? 67% of you said yes, and 33% said no. So that's a huge majority that are ready for it. That's amazing. I have to say, I'm pretty sure it's not really going to affect me, so I haven't looked too deeply into it. I just looked enough to know that I don't import, export. I don't think most things are going to be affected. The 33% of you who've said no, I'm really hoping that's because you've looked at it and you've decided that you've done what you need to do and you don't need to prepare. If you do need to prepare, get on and prepare. It's not long. Get on with it. Okay, if you have any questions, I'm out of time. So you can always get in touch with the QuickBooks support team or me on Twitter. I'm there most days. It's publication week. I'm a bit slow there this week. I'm at Blackmore_Vale on Twitter, or come follow the Blackmore Vales page on Facebook if you want a sneaky slice of rural Dorset life. You just search Blackmore Vale, the big green V logo, that's us. Coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Nelson Jarlow. Nelson is a software engineer and entrepreneur that wants to make an impact in today's world. He's the founder of Amigos Code, where he teaches people around the world how to code. That's very cool. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. I'm there. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. I really enjoyed answering your questions this morning, everybody. Have a good day.